no matter the cost. Congressman, great to see you tonight.
Thanks, Jen. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Hey, so, I think we can all remember back to Joe's first week in office. He signed a flurry of executive orders stating that combating climate change was going to dictate all of their energy policies. He stopped issuing public oil leases. He indicated that all new government vehicles would be electric. And last session in Congress, the Green New Deal couldn't even garner overwhelming Democrat support. So instead of using inflation as an excuse, do you think Democrats are using it as the catalyst for their green revolution?
Well, I think that's the underlying, reason, quite frankly. I mean, the first day in office, what did Joe Biden do? He canceled the Keystone XL pipeline. In his first week, he said no new leases for oil and gas exploration on federal land and waters. And then we've seen, and then they've had a continued year and a half regulatory assault on American energy. Then we had the Russian invasion of Ukraine. And then he says, oh, you know what? We don't want to buy oil from Putin, but we'll buy it from mini Putins like Venezuela, Iran, and Saudi Arabia, but not develop our own energy. Because if you're an environmentalist, you should want America to be exploring natural gas and oil because we do it better than anybody else in the world. We have safety and we have a good regulatory system. And furthermore, we have an independent judiciary and we're a rule of law nation. And it's ridiculous, and he just keeps doubling down on his far left agenda.
And, Congressman, as we all know, Biden spent yet another weekend at the beach where between riding his bike, falling off it, and then taking walks on the beach, he found a couple minutes to speak with the press. And when he did, he said that a possible gas tax holiday could be coming, or even perhaps sending gas cards to all Americans. First of all, we've been dealing with these high gas prices, as you pointed out, since he took office. The day he was sworn in, you said it was $2.39. You pointed that out on Twitter today. Obviously, we've seen it reach over $5 a gallon now. First of all, why the wait, Congressman? And second, is there even any savings, any real savings in taking those actions?
No, you know what, Jen? You know what that is? That's akin to putting a Band-Aid on an arterial wound. You're not addressing the root causes. Just like when he raided our strategic oil reserve. That did nothing except expose us to, unfortunately, and if we need it in an emergency or a natural disaster, we don't. President Trump added 30 million barrels to our strategic national reserve, and Joe Biden raided it. So the underlying interest is launch, Mr. President, unleash American energy, let them do their job, and then we will enjoy American energy defense like we have in the president.
And Congressman, he also indicated that there is going to be potentially a decision on student loans by the end of this week. I mean, here we are battling inflation, and he's talking about more government spending. I mean, how big of an impact would wiping out loans have for the rest of us?
That's so patently unfair and it's un-American, Jen. If you really think about it, if somebody chose as an adult to take out a loan to get an education, and, a major in philosophy, and now they're serving lattes at Starbucks. That's the decision that they made. And what about the people that, went to a trade school and are now, a skilled laborer, which we, by the way, desperately need? You're going to force them, you're going to compel them to pay for the decision that someone else made? That's not fair, and it shouldn't be done. And that's not going to get us anywhere. It's just catering to a large Democratic electorate.
Yeah, and I saw the headline this morning that for the first time in 15 years, now owning a home is more expensive than renting. So you think about canceling student loans. What about killing the American dream here that Americans are now looking at perhaps not being able to buy their own home? But before we let you go, Congressman, I do want to ask you, last week you introduced a bill to protect our strategic petroleum reserve. What exactly would that legislation do?
I would say, Jen, thanks for mentioning that it's not going to be, our strategic petroleum reserve will not be raided for political reasons. It was set up in case of natural disaster or national emergency. That's it, end of story, full stop. And that's what we need to continue to do is protect it and not let some politician, endanger the American collective security.
Yeah, that reserve is at a record low now that we haven't seen in decades. Congressman Pat Fallon of the great state of Texas, it is great to see you. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. Well, rather than focus on 41-year high inflation, the Democrats in Congress once again want you to focus